Supreme Lord, eternal truth, let us obey thee alone and live according to truth. Good morning to you, everybody. Very good morning. Welcome. So, today we are going to discuss on divine sacrifice. Very interesting subject. Always, almost everywhere, in almost all the time, people ask about this topic on divine sacrifice. Today we are going to have a short and brief discussion on divine sacrifice. Before going to this topic, Mother gives a beautiful message on Sri Aurobindo. The divine is what we adore in Sri Aurobindo. The divine is what we adore in Sri Aurobindo. Same way, it is also Sri Aurobindo's message on the Divine Mother, on the Mother. The Mother is the consciousness and force of the Divine. Again, I will repeat. The Mother is the consciousness and force of the Divine, or it may be said, she is the Divine in its conscious force. Mother is the Divine in its conscious force. Anyway, today we are going to analyze the topic in the light of Sri Aurobindo's greatest epic, Savitri. When the earth was ready, when it was prepared, all the human being, plants, animals, everything came into existence. The world was actually in a perfect swing. Then there was awakening of Savitri. So we want to have a brief idea, one brief knowledge and brief discussion today on Savitri's divine sacrifice. What is the sacrifice the divine, and for what, and what sort of sacrifice the divine has done? The 1,000 peoples of soil and tree obeyed the unforeseen instant's urge. Now the earth is getting ready. The manifestation has taken place. The earth, the human being, plants, animals, they have taken their position. They have been, and the God has manifested. In that atmosphere, in that scenario, the Sri Aurobindo writes, the 1,000 peoples of soil and tree. On soil, people are staying; those are staying, and on the tree, those are who are staying. Means the soil is ready, the tree is ready, plants, animals, everything are ready, and peoples who are staying on this soil and tree in this environment obeyed the unforeseen instant urge. They are obeying the urge. They know their bounds. They know what for their they have come, their aims and objectives, and the life explores. After this soil and tree, the animals and plants, they have been planted. Then came the mother. Then came the man, leader here with an uncertain mind, alone who stares at the future's covered face. Man lifted up the burden of his fate. Then later, in the next page, Sri Aurobindo writes on the evolution of man. How it is writing? Two good aspects and two negations. Leader here, first one, who stares at the future's covered face. Future's face is covered. Only the man, what he does, stares at the future's covered face, tries to gauge, tries to know what is behind that face that is covered. And that negations are there with his uncertain mind. His mind is uncertain. From different minds you will see, around hundreds of minds you will see in divine, in Savitri, Sri Aurobindo is writing. But actually here one mind is uncertain mind, alone with his uncertain mind. Then second problem is with man is lifted up the burden of his fate. The burden of his fate he is carrying on the shoulder. So he is now ready. He is prepared for this evolutionary ascent. In the evolutionary, readying himself for the evolutionary progress. At that juncture of time, when everything was ready, Mother Sri Aurobindo says, and Savitri too awoke among the tribes. Among these tribes, Savitri awoke. Awoke means asleep. She does not blink also. She does not rest. From her self-absorption and trance stage, now this supramental incarnation, she tries to awoke. That hastened to join the brilliant summoner's chant. There is a chant, the summoner's chant, brilliant summoner's chant, and Savitri awoke and hastened to join that one. and lured by the beauty of apparent things, real things and apparent things, lured by the beauty of the apparent things, whatever see these are apparent things, acclaimed their portion of ephemeral joy. Mother Savitri comes there and claims the portion of ephemeral joy. What about Savitri? We are speaking of Avok among the tribes, join the brilliant summoner's voice. Now itself we have to see who is Savitri really is. She on the rights of akin to the eternity when she came. When Mother Savitri came, before her arrival, akin to the eternity. She has had akin, one keen relation, one beautiful relation. She was akin to that eternity before her arrival. No part she took in this small happiness. That was a larger sphere. That was everything was infinity. Everything was beautiful. Everything was boundless. But here she has come down in this small hemisphere, lower hemisphere, where everything is bounded. Everything is very much close. Everything is finite. To that atmosphere she has come. No part she took in this small happiness. Their happiness is too boundless, too large. But here in this small corporeal globe, the happiness is too small. But she did not took part. She did not take any part there in small happiness. How she was staying here in this corporeal world, in this small globe, in this small sphere, in this earthly atmosphere, a mighty stranger in the human field. In the human field, everybody was actually in their process of dealing on varying daily acts. They were busy. In that atmosphere, Savitri was a mighty stranger in that atmosphere. The embodied guest within made no response. Embodied guest within her made no response. She was a completely stranger in this human field. The coils that wakes the leap of human mind, its checkered eager motion of pursuit. There was a pursuit, there was a call. So naturally she was moving as a stranger in this human field. This human field is bounded. It is actually very much limited. It is a small, it possesses small happiness, nothing more. In that, to that atmosphere, to that small corporeal globe, Mother descends here. When she came, what things she brought, and why we are emphasizing her divine sacrifice when she is the divine. Sri Aurobindo writes, life's fragile happiness, fragile littleness denied the power, the proud and conscious wideness and the bliss she had brought with her into the human form. When Mother came here, Savitri came here, a world's desire compelled her mortal birth. Mortal birth not as a god or godhead or divine, but actually bearing everything, wrapping up everything. She had taken a beautiful one mortal birth. A world's desire compelled her mortal birth. So he came into this life's fragile field, in this narrow field. Life's fragile littleness denied the power. This power, it was denied. The proud and conscious wideness and the bliss she had brought with him. Three things. When she manifested here, when she woke up from her trance and came into this small corporeal earth, this small littleness, bounded hemisphere, she had brought three things. One is the proud and conscious wideness and the bliss. The wideness, that is proud and conscious wideness and the bliss she had brought with her into the human form, bearing the human form, wrapping up her divinity. She had come to leaving behind her infinity and boundlessness. She has descended here. With her she had brought the conscious and proud and conscious wideness and the bliss with her human form. That is the calm. What else she had brought with her? The calm delight. Delight, before one adjective is used, calm delight. The delight is always calm. Wherever you see the calm delight, it has two better things, two major works. The delight. How is that delight? The calm delight. It had got two works, two jobs to do. That waits. Number one is that waits one soul to the all. One soul is actually Paramatma, the Supreme Soul. Infinite number of souls are here. They are actually known as souls. That is Supreme Soul. One infinite number of the spark of the absolutes in everywhere. Everybody you see, these are called souls. So the job of this calm delight was to join. What not to wed, not join, wed one soul to the all, for which we are doing our yoga. Means yoga means our unification of the divine. So for that only we are doing sadhana for generations together, for births together, for centuries. Actually, so many in the processes. Ardas tapasya also we are doing, performing to get united. For that the yoga is the process. But mother brought the calm wideness that had the major work was that the calm delight that waits one soul to the all, number one. Number two is key to the flaming doors of ecstasy. Ecstasy, it is actually inside a door, that is a flaming door, flaming inside. The key is locked. The calm delight is the key. If we will be able to get this calm delight and use it as the key, then we will rush in where the doors of ecstasy will be opened, and inside it only ecstasy and ecstasy. Well, it will be pleasure. There will be no tears, no agony, no disappointment, no distortion, no death, no tears. Nothing will be there. But actually what happened? So unification with the divine, one soul to all. In wedding means for 7 generations, 7 births they will stay together. For that they have taken the promise. And second, it permanently in a univalent bond, in a unique bond, it will be added, it will be wedded. Second, key to the flaming doors of ecstasy, only pleasure, only with that will be no pain, no agony, no disease, no death. But thing is that art's gain that needs a sap of pleasures and tears. The gain of the earth is pleased with happy with a sap of pleasure and a tear. Rejected the undying rapture's boon. Rejected. Fast sacrifice collapsed. Second, offered to the daughter of infinity. Mother is the daughter of infinity. Second thing, her passion flower of love and doom she gave. One initial round, initial sacrifice collapsed. Then her passion flower of love and doom she possessed. Passion flower of love and doom she gave. In vain now seemed that splendid sacrifice. That divine sacrifice also failed, because love and doom man is unable, this earth is unable to withstand, to take care of. Then number three, her experiment started. A prodigal or her rich divinity. We say her as the divine mother because she is possessed with the, she possesses the rich with the infinity divinity, rich divinity. That she also prodigal she spent. A prodigal of her rich divinity, herself, all she was, she had lent to men. Smilingly she lent the men, hoping her greater being to implant, so that her greater being might be implanted on this earth, and and in their bodies lives acclimatize, it will be fruitful, and so that heaven might native grow on mortal soil. Nobody has to go and quest for heaven in some other spheres. So heaven might native grow on mortal soil. On this earth, this earth will manifest itself. The heaven will manifest itself. The earth will be transformed to the heaven. But actually problem is that first thing, calm delight, that also failed. Second thing she tried with love and doom she gave, that also turned in vain. Third thing, she had lent her prodigal, her rich divinity she had poured, that also collapsed, because money that heaven might native grow, and heaven would have been here, no disease, no pain, nothing would have there. Man would have turned to the God, and the rich bliss would have been manifested on earth. But thing is that everything collapsed. Sri Aurobindo shamefully speaks of hard is to persuade earth nature's change. Mortality bears ill the infinite eternal stars. So failed.